Okay, we're gonna go over the assignment, the student class assignment. So as you can see here, we have the student class. It has three variables: name, grade, and number of absences. We have the access and methods, the three. Now, in the other class, the student tester, we have some static methods that you have to complete. But in this lecture, we're going to answer this question using the for each loop or the enhanced loop. So we have three methods. We're going to start with the first one, a total num absences. So this method returns the total number of absences of all students combined. So we're going to go ahead and use the for each loop. So since we are counting the number of absences, we need a variable, say count, initialize it to 0, and then we're going to use the for each loop. For the for each loop, we have three components. So we start with for and then with the type of the array. So here we have a student array. So we put the type first, student, and then a variable, any kind of variable of type students. So you can name it anything, let's say S. And then colon. Colon means from beginning till the end. And then here the name of the array. Since we're counting the number of absences, that means we're going to put count plus equal. We're going to keep adding. And then the object is S, and then we call the method, which is get absences. And then you return count. Okay. So let's test it using the main method. So we have here a few students object. We created an array of type students. Now let's put system out print line. We're going to call the method, and the name of the method is total num absences. And as you can see, it accepts an array of type student as a parameter. Okay, so here we have an example, which is list. So based on this example, the number of absences is 1 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. So that's 7. So let's see if we're going to get 7. Say we got 7 here. Let's move on to the second method. So here we are trying to return the student with the highest grade. So we need to have a variable first. Have two variables, one for the student's grade and then for the name of the student also. So we're gonna have, let's say, integer high, and we're gonna assume that the first student has the highest grade. Get a grade. I mean, we can put 0 if you want to, but you can assume that the first one has the highest grade. And then also the same thing, we're going to assume that, or let's have the first object. Let's assume the first object, let's say a high name, is the first one. So the first object, the first student, is the one who has the highest grade. And then we're going to use the loop, the for each loop. So student s list. Now here we need to compare the grade. Every time we see a highest grade, then we update the variable high. So we're going to put here f s.getGrade is higher than high. Then two things will happen. We need to save or update the variable high equal s.grade. And then also don't forget to save the name, because we're concerned about the name. We're interested in the name. So high name s.getName. And then at the end, we're going to return the name. Return high name. So let's test it in the main method. So based on this example, the name of the student with the highest grade is Mike, because his grade is 98. That's the highest. So we're gonna int, and then we're gonna call the method, which is high grade student, and then we provide the name of the array. So if everything is correct, there is no error, it should show us the name of, let's look like this example here. So high name, okay. Okay, we need to save it as a string because the name is a string in name. So put list 0 get name. So now it should work. Okay. So now when you run the program, it should show us the name because the name of the student is a string. So it says Mike. Okay. And then the last method, which is the average grade of the entire class. So we need a variable. And then we're going to use one more time the for each loop, students s list, and then we're going to keep adding all the grades, sum plus equal s dot get grade. So as you can see, using for each loop or enhanced loop makes it super easy and fast. And then we return the average, which is since sum is an integer, we may have to cast it to double to make sure we keep the decimal. Divide by list dot length. When you divide by list dot length, we are assuming that there is no gap, there is no null. That means the entire list is full of students, that there is no missing students. Otherwise, you may have to have a variable to keep track of the number of the students. So, for example, you may have a count. I think this is more accurate, and then every time you add a grade, you increment the variable. Okay. So this is better than having list dot length. So count. Okay. So let's test it. The name of the method is average grade students, and then it accepts an array. So it should add up all these grades 90, 60, 84, 98 and divide by 4. So the average grade, I forgot to put semicolon here, and then run the program. So the average is 83. So this is how we use the for each loop. As you can see, it's an alternative, and remember that it does not work all the time. There are certain situations, exceptions, when you cannot use the for each loop and you have no choice but to use the traditional loop. Okay, so thank you for watching and see you in the next lecture.